Hi, and welcome. Welcome to the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, hosted by me, yours truly, Jeff Belomo. I hope you're doing well. We discuss all things estate planning and elder law on this podcast. I am Jeff Belomo. I'm an attorney in New York, Pennsylvania. I've practiced about 20 years, and I was the unfortunate situation where my mother became very ill and needed some assistance, and the surgeon told us, hey, you really need to look into long-term care, in-home care, home health, hospice, different options to know, all the options that could possibly come up. And in that moment, we had no idea. Honestly, it was 2 weeks before the bar exam. I had just graduated law school, obviously a very stressful time in my life. And decided, okay, well, let's go talk to somebody. Let's go find out, what the answers are to the questions. The surgeon certainly didn't know. He had no idea. And went to an elder law attorney in the Pittsburgh area and, paid $300 for the consult fee. And at the end of the hour, the response was, well, if you hire me today, we'll roll the $300 into your planning fee. And if you step foot out of the office today, you forfeit your money. So it was a tough one. And I said, well, I don't even know what the plan is. Well, it's a $15,000 plan, and it's going to protect the assets for your father, and you won't have to worry, and your mother will be taken care of. But there was no insight. There was no details. There was no development of the plan or understanding or explanation at all. And, of course, I stepped foot out of the office. I forfeited my $300, and I went to another law firm. And what do you think happened? Yes, the exact same thing. So now we're out $600. Still don't know the answers to the questions. I go back to the hospital room. My mother comes out of surgery, down off the morphine, and what's the first questions out of her mouth? What's going to happen? Is Dad going to be okay? Is he going to be able to keep the house? Is he going to be able to keep the money? What's going to happen to me? How am I going to be cared for? And what was my answer? I don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? You spent $600. Yeah, I'm well aware of that. So it was obviously a very defining moment in my life. I made a promise to my family at that point that I would not allow that to happen to any other families in the future when I was a practicing attorney. I became very, very fortunate to not only get ESQ after my name, but I also got a designation called CELA, which is a Certified Elder Law Attorney under authorization of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, certificate in estate planning, masters of laws. So I was very fortunate with the degrees that I was able to get. But you know what? At that point, when you're in your late 20s and you have all those mumbo jumbo initials after your name, the only ones that matter are a job, a job, right? Because you got to pay the bills. And so you get a job, you work for a law firm, and of course, who tells you what you're going to do or how you're going to do it? The partners. And law traditionally is done the same way, right? Law is traditionally done the way that my experience was. And eventually, that is exactly what occurred. In 2008, I was leaving a meeting. I put my hand out to shake the hand of my client, and I said, ma'am, that'll be $300. If you hire me today, we'll roll it over into the planning fee. And it was in that moment that I realized I became one of them. And I burst into tears. My client's consoling me. We're, kind of hugging and laughing, and, she doesn't have any idea what's going on. I eventually was able to get to the car to call my mom and told her that I was quitting my job. I called her back about 3 minutes later and said, Mom, we must have got disconnected. No, we didn't. She said, I hung up on you. So what do you mean you hung up on me? Most parents are proud of their kids when they follow their heart and their dreams and they go after something. And I am. I'm going to be a social worker or a teacher like I should have done. She said, no, you're not. You're running from being a lawyer. You don't agree with the billing practices. You don't agree with the way that it's set up. You don't agree with how you have to do it. So change it. The Jeff Belomo that I raised will change the industry. So I did quit my job. I opened up an estate planning and elder law firm. And that was exactly the mantra, was we are going to educate first and foremost. So at this point in time, we have offices in York and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We do workshops on a weekly basis. We have workshops for estate planning, crisis planning or Medicaid planning, special needs trust planning, probate administration, trust administration. Pretty much every practice area that we do, we have a workshop for. And what we explain to our clients is, if you give us 2 hours of your time, we will give you an hour of our time free to not only answer your questions, but also tell you if we can help, and if we can, what is the cost, and exactly what that means up front in a flat fee. So that way you know exactly what you're hiring us for a flat fee, so that there's no hidden charges or billings or anything like that. That's the relationship that we like to create with our families, and also with our community, to make sure that the community knows the answers to the questions, that what happened to my family in that hospital room won't happen to any other families in and around our community. So that's who we are. And what has happened over time, since it's been, I've been in practice 20 years, we've been now on our own for about 14 years, is we have a lot of clients that have come through our process. And what was very clear early on was they loved it. They love the flat fees. They love everything being included up front. And then the part that we didn't necessarily anticipate was, okay, what happens on an ongoing basis, right? Not how do you get hired, but in year 3, 5, 12, 15, and then what happens upon the death of the client. So we had a lot of clients at the beginning, around 2009, 10, when we opened the law firm, who used to be former business clients. I had a business partner at the very beginning, Nate Platt. Nate was a wonderful man. He is a wonderful man. He is a wonderful attorney. We joined our practices and went into practice together. And he was a business attorney as well. And I had a little bit of some business experience and some business clients too. And they kept asking us, well, like in the business world, can't we have you on retainer? And so, like in the business world, you pay an attorney maybe $2,500, $3,000. You put them on retainer. You call, they pick up the phone. You call, you need something, they drop what they're doing and they get it done. Kind of a concierge service. And at that time, we kind of laughed and couldn't figure out how possibly to create something like that. And a national organization that I belong to rolled out a program called a maintenance program. And as soon as I heard it and I heard what it was, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is exactly what we're looking for. So we have a Belomo maintenance family, and the maintenance family is essentially the people who are clients who then choose to pay a flat fee per year to be able to come in anytime, ask questions anytime, make changes to their documents. If the law changes, we call them. We tell them about the changes in the law. And what we try to do as part of the program is every month we try to have a speaker or an event or something that occurs to bring the family together, right? Traditionally, the relationship with a law firm is not usually that good. Let's call a spade, right? I was in a workshop one day and I asked, who in here has an estate plan? And this lady raised her hand and I said, how long ago did you create it? And she said about 18 years. And I said, and who created it? And she could not tell me. And it hit me that night like, wow, she did this important thing, right, with a law firm, and she can't even remember who it was. You talk about a horrible business model. You talk about a horrible way to get referrals in the future and repeat business. So what the maintenance does is it allows us to see several hundred of our clients on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. Not only do we have the monthly speaking engagements, we always have a huge kind of picnic or party where we get all of our clients together. So you'll have several hundred clients. The last couple years, we've done it at John Wright Restaurant. Because we do have clients in York and Lancaster, it works out very well because that's right in the middle, right on the river. So that's probably a pretty prime place for us to continue. But we've also had it at different local parks and state parks and community parks and different things. And it's just a great way to get together and kind of have fun and relax. In October, we always have a maintenance picnic. or I apologize, we have a maintenance event where I get up and the other attorneys in the office will speak on what changes in the law have occurred this year. What's what are we looking at? What are we seeing? What's trending? Anything that's concerning us, anything that may be on the horizon for next year that you might be hearing. Typically spend about an hour to an hour and a half talking, usually 30 minutes or so mingling and kind of catching up with each other. And then after that meeting, clients who need changes to their documents, or if they want to sit down with someone, we make arrangements for that to be able to have them sit down with a team member if there are changes or things that occur. So we're seeing the clients on a fairly regular basis. And then the other thing that we do that's kind of the cherry on the top is we say to the families, if you maintain in the maintenance program for the life of, from the day that you started your plan to the day that you pass away, we will honor a 1% fee guarantee. So traditionally, post-death administration is something that's, if a family goes through probate, if they have their assets in a will, typically a lawyer charges right around 5%. I'm just using an average. If something's in a trust, typically it's 2 to 3%, depending on the lawyer. But what the maintenance program does for our families is it gives them a 1% fee guarantee. So you have a family that comes in and they're looking at the options of how do we continue to maintain this? How do we know that it's going to work when we need it to? How do we know the law is not going to change? The hourly rate for us in our office for the attorneys is $400 an hour and $200 an hour for the paralegals. So when you look at it that way, you go, wow, if you sit with an attorney for an hour, the paralegal does all the changes, you meet with the attorney to do the signing. I mean, you could be at $1,000 on changes pretty quickly, rather quickly. And, our maintenance programs typically run from $395, $495, $595, $695, and currently that's the highest price. So you're looking at paying, maybe an hour and a half of someone's time, an attorney's time per year, but in return, you're getting unlimited access to the law firm, monthly speakers, monthly events, monthly education, annual picnics, annual maintenance events. Several years ago, the law changed. There was the Secure Act that came down, and the Secure Act was a law that related to retirement accounts. And it literally got passed on December 23rd at like 3 a.m. Now, I may be off by a day, I may be off by an hour, but you get the gist, right? Happened in the middle of the night with no fanfare, no publicity, and it was a huge change, right? So prior to the Secure Act, we were able to stretch out a retirement account for a beneficiary over the life expectancy of the child. So if you've got a child who's 20 some years, their life expectancy is huge, right? Even in your 40s and your 50s, you still have a lot of life expectancy. So you can stretch out that retirement account over the life expectancy of that person. Well, not after the Secure Act. The Secure Act came down and said, oh, no, not so fast, right? You have 10 years to realize all of it. Well, that's a significant change in the law, right? You're doing planning with a family, and in those days, it was all about defer. Keep those retirement accounts, grow them. And in light of the Secure Act that came out in 2019, things are changing. There's definitely a change in the way things are occurring, the way people are planning, the way that advisors are encouraging their clients to invest. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. I am a lawyer who does estate planning and elder law. And remember, folks, this is a radio show. This is not intended to create any relationship. There is no attorney-client relationship being created. We're here for informational purposes and educational purposes. But, you listen to your financial professional in regards to the financial advice. I'm simply saying, I'm seeing a change. I'm seeing that a lot of advisors are encouraging their families not necessarily anymore defer, right? Why? Well, when on average is a person likely to pass away, right? Maybe in their 70s and 80s. How old are their kids? Maybe in their 50s and 60s. What are the highest wage earning years of your children? Probably 50s and 60s, right? So you've got a situation now where a person may be retired for 15, 20 years, not really having a lot of income anymore, right? Because they're retired, where the child is going to be in their highest wage earning brackets. They've got 10 years to pay 100% of the tax consequence. So let's give an example. If there's $1 million retirement account, that child has to take $100,000 of ordinary income each year for 10 years. Well, that could be a significant change in his or her tax brackets, whereas with the parents, had they done the same thing and stretched it out over 10, 15 years, it probably would be a very negligible result. So we're seeing a lot of advisors encouraging people to start making those conversions, But the importance with the maintenance family is that as soon as that law came down, we made changes to our software. We waited until it got tested through the national organization that we belong to. And then once it was set and ready to go, we immediately contacted all of our clients and slowly started bringing them in to make changes to all of their documents. Well, for all the maintenance families, that's included, right? That is free of charge. That is part of the plan. That's part of it. Contacted them immediately, made arrangements, did everything that we needed to do. So the question becomes, well, gee, Jeff, what about the people that are not in maintenance, right? Well, we absolutely want to get them as well. Why? Because they need to pay for the change, right? The law changed. It changed the documents. It changed how we do the planning, and that has to be updated. So we reached out to them. We charged them the hourly rates, and certainly went ahead, and everybody was happy. And that's the advantage, is that you can go either way. We tell people we have absolutely no issue if you don't want to be a part of the maintenance family, but once you come out, you are no longer part of the 1% fee guarantee, and you are welcome back later, but you do it without the 1% fee guarantee. So we have had some people who have opted out and then come back later when they knew they needed to make some changes. We have no problem with that, but they did lose the 1% fee guarantee, which in most cases is really why the families want to be in. They want that 1%. They want to guarantee that that's the cost that their family is going to pay. A lot of attorneys are charging, upwards of 5, 6, 7% for those services. So getting a 1% fee guarantee is certainly a wonderful benefit to the families. And it worked out really well. They get the guarantee in writing, and then that way they could kind of move on and continue to stay in the maintenance program. So it's worked out really well. Like I said, it was an invention of our clients. They were the ones who came to us and wanted it, and then we have certainly had to tweak it over the years. We've only had one fee increase in, I think it's a 7-year. I think we've been doing the program for 7 to 8 years. We've had one fee increase, which very proud of. That's a wonderful thing. We're able to keep it very steady for the clients to understand what the rates are going to be. So we don't anticipate, we just had it recently, so there probably won't be one for a long time, which is a wonderful thing. And we're certainly very excited at this point in time. We have all of our speakers lined up for the rest of the year. We have our maintenance picnic lined up for next year. At least we have a tentative lined up for next year. And, of course, our maintenance event in October is set and ready to go. If you are a part of our family, please reach out and get the date for that. In fact, I'm hesitating right now because I think we may have had to move it to the end of September. But definitely, if you're a part of our maintenance family, you'll be getting notification from us. Reach out to the office. If you're just listening to this as a layperson who hasn't been working with our firm at this point, please know that it's very important to us to build a relationship and to get to know you on a one-on-one basis. That's really the key to me, is that we want to see you on a regular basis. We want to get to know you and your family. We want you to know our family, my wife and my children. And most people realize when you look at that program that we're not making money. In fact, when you look at it on a regular basis, we're losing our shirts. I mean, most people will use on average of 6-7 hours. And like I said, the range of the fees right now is like $3.95 to $6.95. Hourly rate at $400 an hour, you're getting paid for an hour and a half. but yet people are typically using 6 to 7. The reason that it works out is because our maintenance families are actually where most of our referrals come from. We end up getting 3 to 4 times more referrals from our maintenance families than we do from any other clients or any other referral sources. Why? Well, because we see them on a regular basis. We interact, we become close, we become part of a family, and they're way more likely to refer. So although we're certainly giving out way more in the year than what we're getting paid, it's offset by the referrals and by the relationships that we get in that we wouldn't have otherwise had. So it's a win-win for everybody. We get, the understanding that we have so many families who are going to be coming in every year. The families get a fee guarantee that they know at post-death what they're going to pay. And we get an opportunity to really get to know our clients, which is really the key to all of it. So that's a little bit about the Bellomo Maintenance family. We hope you learned a little bit about that. It's a lot of fun. It's probably the best thing that we enjoy doing within our firm is hanging out with our maintenance families, getting to know them and their families. We just had our maintenance picnic a few weeks ago at John Wright, and it was so much fun, and it was just great seeing several hundred people in one place that you feel very close to. So we'd love to have an opportunity to educate you so that what happened to my family doesn't happen to yours. Feel free to give us a call at 717-845-5390 or on the web, www.bellomoassociates.com. We'd love for you to become a part of our family as well. If not, at least get educated and understand all the different nuances of estate planning and elder law. Well, that's it for today for the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show. Remember, this is a radio show meant for informational and educational purposes. You should not take legal advice from this or any other radio show. If you need an attorney, please contact someone who is a licensed attorney in the state that you reside. If you're in Pennsylvania, we'd love to help. At Bellomo & Associates, we'd love to hear from you. So give us a call. We've been more than happy to assist. Thank you. That's all for today.